What's up, guys? Welcome to Horror Movie Rewind. I'm Dustin. Welcome back. Welcome for the first time. If you've never done so before, really appreciate if you'd hit that like and subscribe button for me below.
Hope you like what you see.
So we're going to be talking about They Will Kill You. I'm a little late on this, but whatever. The marketing for this film, what I mean by that is the trailers, was pretty transparent. It was pretty straightforward. You got what it told you when you watched the film. I did think it was odd that they chose to release this film a week after Ready or Not 2. I figured that they could suffer from some, casual fan fatigue. Of course, it's an odd choice, in my opinion, but who the hell am I? So there's a couple of things it reminded me of, and they're kind of fun, so I'm going to run through them. Now, it wore its Kill Bill / Quentin Tarantino Halloween costume with pride. Probably also the only person who's going to say that it reminded me of a Wes Anderson film. And I'll point the finger for that reason at the hotel setting, the ensemble type cast, and also the repetitive nature of some of the dialogue. Just, those are all three things that are really common in his films. Another franchise that this movie, in my opinion, borrowed from, or, just gave homage to, was the Evil Dead franchise. I didn't see that one coming from the trailers, but it's not because of the high-rise setting of the previous Evil Dead film, but more the slapstick violence, especially pertaining to the villains, bad guys, whatever the hell you want to call it, the plot, the satanic, etc. The ending really hammered that one home for me. Didn't have to tell me anything more than James Remar, Dexter Morgan's father, would be voicing a decapitated pig head that was a conduit for Satan, and I would have been in. A few other things. This is like the year of giving nods to People Under Stairs for me. Clearly, Scream 7, like the partition walls, like the areas in between. And I'm not saying that People Under Stairs was the first to do it, but you've seen that in several films already in 2026, and I'm sure that that was on purpose due to the fact that it was also a Wes Craven film. But in this one, you had a lot more of that. Just kind of the whole premise of having to hide and running through and crawling through, air ducts and stuff just gave me a People Under Stairs vibe. That might be a little bit of reaching, but that's also not a problem. I'm a huge fan of that movie. I think it's really underrated. You don't hear enough about it. There was a nod to Hellraiser at the end of the film when they meet the head. And that one's pretty simple. You just have the chains, hooks, like inverted crosses and stuff hanging from the ceiling. Also the blue tones. Not a problem with that. Big Trouble in Little China. Again, the kind of you're trapped in someone else's domain, going through tight spaces, but especially with Heather Graham's eyeball lurking along, like the little eyeball that could. The shittiest film that I'm going to discuss in reference to this film, and it's the 1993, I think, Super Mario Brothers film. Yeah, when Heather Graham's head's regenerating, it looked just like one of those Goombas from Super Mario Brothers. It's funny. Yeah, so I'm not going to do a full recap, but I will talk about a couple of things that I liked and that I didn't really care for. Yeah, again, from the trailer, you can see that it's a very action-oriented horror film. It didn't reinvent the wheel, but they were entertaining for the most part. Probably one of my favorite things about it was that it was just wacky as fuck. Again, that Evil Dead kind of vibe to it. Silly as shit insanity when it pertained to violence. And then just purposely funny. Again, I mentioned Heather Graham's eyeball. Just, not giving up. But yeah, there were a couple of things that I'm not going to say I hated about it. It didn't take itself super serious, and I don't think that we were expecting it to. It did get redundant, and what I mean by that is we were informed of the whole immortality plot, and felt like they were just biding time, like some filler scenes when characters just kept getting killed over and over again. Yeah, I understand that she's got to subdue them or cripple them, whatever you want to call it, to get from one step to the next, but there were times where it was almost insulting because they portrayed it as if we were supposed to be surprised that they come back to life, even after we were well informed that, they were immortal, at least as long as things keep going their way. Didn't piss me off, just was kind of boring, honestly. You've beaten a dead horse. I had a bigger problem with, then again, not enough to, thumbs down the movie, but the whole dad plot. Let's talk about that for just a second. Number one, somehow she looked older in the beginning of the film, 10 years previous, than she did, just in my opinion. I know it was raining and she was, kind of in rough shape, but I thought it was like maybe her boyfriend or estranged husband. I don't know, but, it turns out it's the dad. And again, she doesn't even look like she's aged. She looks like she's de-aged. And then you find out, obviously, that it's her sister. I thought it was her daughter to begin with. I guess the most, confusing or nonsensical thing, and that's a funny word to use while discussing this film, is why she went to prison to begin with. Number one, she didn't kill him. People definitely get less prison time for a self-defense murder or manslaughter than the 10 years she served. And I'm pretty sure, or at least, the state I live in and a lot of others, that could be justifiable homicide. Another aspect of the plot that was just kind of forgotten, or really worse than that, explained, but not explained whatsoever, was the whole how did she learn to fight thing. And they literally have a dialogue. They have this scene, flashback, where she says prison, and then she explains it. But she didn't explain a fucking thing, because it just shows her in prison kicking the shit out of people. It doesn't have this, Rocky montage where she's getting, beat up and, slapped around, abused, whatever. And then there's this, character that trains her or anything like that. No, she just says, I learned to fight in prison, and then you clip to a scene where she just kicks the shit out of 3 chicks. So, well, why even mention that? That doesn't show us anything about you learning to fight. It just shows you kicking the hell out of people just like you're doing right now. It's just shitty editing, in my opinion. Again, not a big deal. It seemed unfinished. I don't hate the film because of that. But yeah, I'm not going to do a whole plot rundown. So, I'm assuming you've seen the film. And if you haven't, then, well, I guess I didn't spoil it for you. But it was pretty good. Not anything surprising about it. Again, it was exactly what I expected it to be from the trailer. The ending was absurd in the best way. Anyways, guys, I'm Dustin. Thanks for checking me out. It's Horror Movie Rewind, and we'll see you soon.